What's going on, everyone? Alliance Orc here, and welcome back to another video. So, for those of you who have been keeping up with the alpha news, this is one of the dungeons coming to Midnight Season 1 Keystones, pending or not if Blizzard decides to change anything, which, honestly, for this dungeon, is kind of up in the air because I don't know if they will or not. So, this dungeon is Skyreach, and in Skyreach, you basically go after the Arakoa. Now, this dungeon has a lot to know about trash versus the other dungeons we've covered for Midnight so far. So with that being said, smash that subscribe button, make sure you guys are ready, and let's hop into the video. So, right off the rip, you're going to see priority target number 1, and that is the Initiate of the Rising Sun. The Initiate of the Rising Sun, if I have my memory serving me correctly, is a healer mob. So it is someone who will have to be focused very importantly. And if I remember right, they craft sun trinkets as well, which is something you will have to be aware of. But for the most part, nothing too overly important. Oh, cool. BOE. That won't sell. You get up here, and I believe the Whirling Dervish is a mob that will, like, run around and everything. So, probably best to pull him back so you don't get chain pulls. Holy cow. Okay. Now, I do know the Herald of Sunrise is someone who does have to be prioritized. But you also have a mob you have to be very aware of, and that is the Solar Familiar. When you kill a Solar Familiar, it will always do a cast called Flash Bang, as well as Empower, which gives a mob 50% healing and damage done. If you get targeted with Solar Detonation, make sure to move away so you don't do splash damage to people. But as I said, when you kill them, they do flashbang. I would not worry about interrupting it, just turn around so that way you don't get blinded, because that's what will happen. But all in all, nothing too important going on. Make sure the solar flare is getting interrupted, no casts going off are good. And then we get to this unique pack, the Skyreach Overlord and the Lowborn Arakoas. This is the only time these mobs will show up in this dungeon. And if I remember right, yep, the Lowborn Arakoas will occasionally get Torn Feathers, which will give them 100% increased haste and 50% increased damage. So that when they get big like that, you want to focus them until they die. And now we reach the first boss, Ranjit. So, Ranjit is... I'm going to just pull him now so you guys can see while I explain. All of his abilities are completely avoidable, because it's literally an achievement. The first ability he has is Four Winds, which is a massive vortex that moves in either direction. So that is Four Winds. He also has Spinning Blades, which if you saw at the start of the fight... Oh no, he's doing Windwall. That's Windwall. Oh, I know what Four Winds is. Sorry. It's been a while since I've been here. Spinning Blade is what you saw at the beginning of the fight. This is Four Winds. This is the ability that will kill you if you get hit by it. But positioning where you're at in the room is very important for the Windwall ability, because it will make things more difficult. The boss will also use the Focusing Iris, as you see here, and draw fire on the floor. These puddles stick around for a fair bit, so make sure you're very cautious with where you place them. Room management is everything here. It's so important. But all of his abilities like these are avoidable. He will also target a player and charge them. I think that is Piercing Rush, though I may be wrong. But he will also put bleeds on people with Fan of Blades. Like I said, some of these are pretty hard to show, but here's the dot right here. Looks like the rogue's Fan of Knife ability. And then the lens flare you guys already saw is the fire patches. Again, you just want to make sure you are not being stupid with them. But like I said, all of his abilities are easily avoidable. You just have to pay attention and make sure you're not standing into stupid. You even have an achievement for it. Oh, I got a sword. Hold on. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. It's actually a really cool sword. So, this pack up here, you gotta kind of pick and choose which side you want. You have an Air Familiar which does not blind you, but Adept of the Dawn on the left will have to be focused heavily focused, as it is a healer mob. Same with the two Initiates of the Rising Sun on the right. So, given healer logic, I'd say go left, nuke the Adept, kill everything else, and then you move on. The Skyreach Archaeologist is I guess you'd call a mini-boss, and once he dies, the second boss will activate. This guy is not a boss. Do not bloodlust on the Archaeologist or pop your cooldowns, because this guy is your next boss, and this guy is going to make your healer's life hell. So, Arachnath is a giant mechanical beast who has several little mini robots that spawn around the room. These constructs will shine lights into the boss and heal it for its health. But if a player steps in and soaks the beam, you'll be taking some pretty nasty damage while you are soaking it. But you prevent the boss healing as well. So, managing who's soaking and how much is priority. The boss will also do Smash, which just inflicts damage to all players in the area, so just avoid it. Tanks can avoid it too. No one should ever get hit by Smash. Burst, however, Burst is the big damage. Burst inflicts a burst of energy to all enemies within 100 yards. When this ability is used, the next one is 7% stronger. So as you see right here, he has the buff that says burst, and that 7% more damage is applied. And then you can see right here, he's healing for 2.5% of his health every second, because I'm not soaking. And he's now got 14% burst damage. So essentially, this boss you will want Bloodlust in all your cooldowns for, because he is the fight that you need to kill him before he kills you, because every time he does burst, you're going to get that much closer to getting one shot. I would say, honestly, 3 to 4 bursts will probably be enough to kill your party from full health. But I'd say he's just really a healer check. Moving on, for this next trash pack though, all players ranged and melee will want to stack up. The reason why is the Skyreach Sun Talon mobs have a buff called Forgetful. This creature will often forget who has threatened it, meaning tanks, if you lose aggro on these birds, at least 97% of the time, it's not going to be your fault. They also have Saboteur, which will expose weakness on someone and increase the damage they take by 10% for each application. So if you pull, let's say, all 5 of these birds, as you see, I'm being fixated on, meaning they cannot be taunted. If they apply the exposure on me and I get 3 of them do it to me, I'm taking 30% increased damage. So you want to basically stack the birds up, and AoE stun them down. For this next mob, the Raven Whisperer, I'd recommend pulling him back to avoid potential face pulling, but he will do Excite, which will basically give the birds the buff that will chase down a random player. So this is basically no different from Fixate. So I'd say really just nothing too overly terrifying here, but just take care of them. Bada bang, bada boom. Whoa. No idea what that was, but that'll probably be good to know. Okay, Rukron. This is a bird boss that cannot be moved. If no one is in melee range of this boss, he will do Screech, which inflicts damage to all players in the area and increases damage taken by Screech and Quills by 10%. So, Quills, when the boss does Quills, is an AoE. Feathers will shoot everywhere, and you have to hide back here when he does Quills. I believe he only does it twice during the fight. Could be wrong. But once Quills is over, Tank has to charge in and immediately regain control of the fight. Otherwise, the boss will kill your group. And then his other ability is summon Solar Flare, which will... Let me just find a way to aggro this guy without killing him. Where's my taunt? Taunt. There we go. Let's go ahead and put it over that. I'm not using that ability. So, Summon Solar Flare will summon an ad that will chase you down. And if the ad gets to you, it will do... Which one is it? Okay, so I'm not sure which one does what, but basically, the long and short of it is, Solar Flares need to be kited and killed immediately. However, there is a caveat. Because should a solar flare explode by a pile of ash, a new solar flare will spawn. So let's just say right here. Also, this is the Screech mechanic. As you see, that one blew up there. We now have two. But essentially, you just do not want the birds to blow up on any ash at any given time, as that will literally just, it'll be bad. So manage where the ash is, or the birds are killed, and then go back to the boss. If too many birds spawn, well, honestly, though, and hear me out on this is kind of Giga Brain. What you could also do is if you're running a hunter, have the hunter kite the birds. Like, if the bird is fixating a hunter, ignore it. But if a bird is not on a hunter, kill it. And if they fixate the hunter, let the hunter kite it forever. You know, because they're not really losing any DPS, right? But let's talk about the most hated part of Skyreach, the wind bridge. This wind bridge will constantly pull you down the entire way through, as you see. Now, you're going to see a little path right here in the middle. That's the path you want to take to get through. Try to avoid the birds impaling you if you can, as that will do some pretty decent damage. Also, if you're feeling confident in your jumping abilities, you could always go from here to the stairs. But as you see, this path I'm following right here. I'll drop markers when I get up there so you guys can see it. But yeah, this wind tunnel is widely hated by several people. Okay, so wind tunnel. When you get up here, you want to follow the marked path. And then by there, you just go boom. Now, once you get up here, you want to, I'd say, CC the adept or just cleave it down with you and kill the whirling dervish. The reason why you want to focus the whirling dervish is because as soon as he dies, the wind tunnel disappears. Literally, he is the one making the wind tunnel. You kill him, then when your players have to run back, things get easier. Okay, so for this trash pack, you want to focus the life packed familiar first, because this creature will heal its master to full health when dying or sacrifice itself to save its master from dying, meaning that any damage done to the radiant supernova is wasted. You want to kill this bird first, and then I'd say focus the defense construct, as the defense construct is going to buff the adds and give them reduced damage. Anytime that happens is bad, but as you see, protective barrier, he got it off, and now all of his allies are protected from damage by 90%. So interrupt protective barrier at all cost. Meanwhile, the solar magnifier is doing empower, which, let me just delist that right quick, is basically just buffing the ads. But yeah, that's that trash explained in a nutshell. But if you decide to go the other way, because there are two paths in this dungeon, this trash will have an Adept of the Dawn, a solar familiar, which is the mob we saw at the beginning of the dungeon, will do flashbang when it dies and try to blind your group. And you have, again, another life pack familiar, which will protect the Adept of the Dawn. So, life pack familiar has to die first, then you can focus the Adept, and then the other three will fall. Honestly, I'd say this side is probably the better side, because that defense construct, if it gets that cast off, it's absolutely horrible. And then you have the mini-boss, the Grand Defense Construct. The Grand Defense Construct, if I am right in this, I believe all of his different body parts... Oh, hold on a second. I believe all of these different body parts share health. Meaning, you kill one, everything breaks. But now let's talk about the wannabe Lich King, High Sage Vyrix. High Sage Vyrix is the final boss of this encounter, and I call him the wannabe Lich King because of his abilities. His first ability is Cast Down. This ability will cause a player to, they'll have an orb thrown at them. It won't do no damage or nothing. You'll just glow. When you have that on you, you want to run about right here every time. You want to leave this spot open every time. Because the bird will come down, the bird can be stunned, and it'll attempt to take the players to the cliff and drop them off. The next ability he does is a lens flare, which will call down a beam of fire, much like the first boss did. Just try to keep the fire out of the middle. You want this area clean. And then Solar Burst is just damage. It can be interrupted, but that's it. His last ability is he will summon a shield construct to protect him. The shield construct must be prioritized by everyone unless a bird gets called. Otherwise, you are not going to kill this boss. But yeah, let's just watch his mechanics play out. And as you saw, that fiery ball came up. That came over. The zealots got me. Killed it. There's the spire. Lasers coming after me. And there's this Skyreach shield construct. He's not really going to try and fight too much. He's going to be more focused on protecting Virix. Kill him, and then by that point the fight just repeats. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this video up. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. Good luck with your keys in Midnight, and we have, I believe, one more dungeon to cover that is already in the game before the expansion comes out. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.